Hi, this is James Scott with Board on the Bayou. In this episode, I'm going to be doing a Christmas buying guide. This is not necessarily going to be like the top 10 best games to buy. A lot of these are going to be the more obscure games and some other popular ones. Because obviously, if you have a board gamer or you are a board gamer, you have bought the popular games that are out there that you really wanted or they really wanted. So these are some other ideas. Some of my best recommendations is, if you don't know about games, go to boardgamegeek.com and just type in the name of a game, and you can see a lot of reviews, how to play games, and you can get a little idea more about a game before you buy it if you're not too sure about it. For buying games, I highly recommend is miniaturemarket.com and coolstuffinc.com. These are where a lot of board games are on there, and they usually sell them a lot cheaper than retail. If you get around $100, you get free shipping. Also, they have a daily deal pretty much every day if you go on there, and it's a little hard to find on some of them, but they have a game, usually one game they'll pick, and they'll have it at half off. Those are two really great sites to go to. Another buying tip for this Christmas is always remember at Target, and I believe Walmart does it too, but I do know at Target, they will match Amazon's prices and other major retailers' online prices. So if when you go and you buy a game, make sure you check how much it is on Amazon before you leave the store. If so, you bring the game with your phone up to the customer service and they'll match the price. I've saved $10, $20 on games a couple times. I guess we'll start off with the accessories. Simple little accessories. Ones I really like is if you go at Walmart in the or the kitchen section, they got these little mini bowls. These are really good for holding tokens and different little markers. They got a little screw-on lid. You get 3 of them for I think it's like $3.50. And I got the color, so you can have it color coded. Also at Walmart is these for, I think these were 68 cents. Sometimes they're a little bit cheaper on clearance. They're crayon they call them crayon containers. But what they're really good for is they got these little latches, and they're really great for holding cards. If you have a bunch of different card games, in this case here, I have 110 cards with the little rules in it for this little card game. 68 cents, you can't beat it. It's cheaper than buying those deck boxes, and these stack and lock in. So when you put them on your shelf, if you had a bunch of them locked in, you could write on them or whatever. Also too, if you got a board game that has some cards, you can put the cards in here and just put this little box in there instead of having them in little Ziplocs. I know Cool Stuff has them, and I don't know anywhere else. I don't know who else carries them, but these things are called Zen bins. They're simple little plastic bins, but they are so useful. They do snap on. You could keep your tokens in your box, but I like just having a stack of them around. For every game, I would just pour the tokens in it, and that way everybody can have like a little pile of tokens closer to them instead of having to reach across the table. I think they're about like $1.50 a piece. I got 6 or 7 of them. At some of these places, you can, if you get $100, you get free shipping. You end up having like $90, and just throw a couple of these in the cart, and you end up saving the free shipping and end up getting an item out of it. Another good thing while we're on the subject of cards, Ultra Pro Fit sleeves. These fit the Magic the Gathering size cards, which is generally pretty much most games. Their card size is generally that general size. It says for standard cards. These fit real nice and snug. I do admit sometimes they are a little too snug for some games, but the majority of the games I have, these fit perfect. When you take the cards, they shuffle into each other really good, and they're pretty much right at the size of the card, so you don't have that big overhang on some of the penny sleeves. But these are, you can usually get them for about $2.50 a pack. Sometimes Amazon, you can get like a pack of 5 of them for like 10, 12 bucks. Another good idea while we're on there talking about Amazon and baggies. Another idea for gamers, a little stocking stuffer, sorry, is these little Ziploc bags. I liked about a 4-inch, but like you can get like these are 4x5s. These are so much better than using a big Ziploc bag, especially when you get a lot of the little tokens. Sometimes I'll have like a variety pack. I get a couple hundred of these, and this has been lasting me for 2-3 years. Real great little bags to have. Another little idea, especially if you got one of those gamers in your life that whenever they roll the dice, they can't seem to just roll them in front of them. They have to scatter them across the whole table, is a dice tray. This is a little more fancier one from Chip Theory Games. This is a leather one. They fold flat. They have on some of the different sites, if you look up game trays, I recommend those little plastic ones. They kind of snap in together. Not necessarily the wooden ones. They are nice, don't get me wrong, but these folding up ones are really nice, so you can actually put them in a box that so you can carry along with you. Now, to get down to the meat of it, games. There are so many different games. What to buy also is going to depend on you knowing your family. But here's some recommendations for a couple of different categories. For family games that have younger kids, some of the games I like that are really nice for the younger ones is, well, for one is Hive Mind. This is one of the rare games where you actually want to be similar, and I find is really good for the kids. All this game really boils down to is somebody's going to ask a question like, name 3 movies with the word time in it. And everybody writes down three movie titles with the name time in it. The object of the game is to be like everybody else. You want to have everybody thinking the same. So, which is nice for the younger kids. They don't have to think of some weird thing that nobody else knows. They actually want to think like everybody else. They want to have a similar answer. So, Land Before Time would probably be one. Not necessarily, the time Godzilla attacked America or whatever, some weird movie that nobody else will know. So that's a fun little simple game. Can be taught in literally a minute or 2 and can be played. Great for all ages. Another little fun one for the kids is Cobra Paw. Basically all this game is some dice and some little tiles. You roll the dice. We'll have some symbols on it, and you hurry up and grab the tiles that match those symbols. Quick, easy to learn. Kids love it. They slam it down on the table. You're supposed to hit it with your finger, but really fast-paced little simple game. Pretty much indestructible. Those tiles and the dice, you can take them anywhere and play it on the beach or any location. So that's another little great ones for the young ones. Another fun family game is 5 Minute Dungeon, and I don't have, but the one I would probably recommend if you have kids would be 5 Minute Dungeon, or 5 Minute Marvel, I believe it's called, where it has all the Marvel characters. Plays pretty much the same as this. There's a little difference in it, but there's going to be a stack of cards in the middle of the table. You're going to flip them over, and then everybody plays cards, or starts slamming down cards, trying to defeat that creature, and everybody's working together, trying to beat the different bosses. In this case, they're kind of like dungeon bosses. And the Marvel one, obviously, is the villains you're trying to beat. Fun little simple game. Another one I recommend, which a lot of people have not seen, is Camel Up. Now, what's fun about this game is this one's actually being reprinted, and I think the reprint just came out, or it should be coming out in a few weeks. They're changing the game a little bit. All the core mechanics are going to stay the same, but this used to be hard to find. But with the reprint now, it should be easy to find. More or less in this game, what you're going to be doing is you pull out a dice. The dice will tell you how many spaces to move the camel. 1 to 3. The camels will stack on top of each other or move underneath them. It's really funny. And then they got the little cards where you can try to bet on which place you think your camel is going to be in that leg, and at the final of the race. Fun, laugh a lot with the way the movement is on the camels, of them stacking. Oh no, this camel moved onto this camel, and then he rolled that camel up here. Really fun. The new one's going to have some new mechanics, which I'll be really interested in seeing. Another great game for the family, which probably a lot of y'all might have, but I've been seeing it more out there. Splendor. Fun, simple, easy to game. You pretty much, what you do is you put the cards, get the glare. You put down cards in the center of the table on your turn. You either got these little chips that have gems on it, or you buy a card. And as simple as that. It teaches you, like with young ones and all that, can easily play it because it big gem symbols on it. Be taught in a little bit. Great strategy. A lot of places like in Lafayette around here that they actually have tournaments with these. Another great game that has a very similar mechanic. If you like this game, you also will like Century Golem Edition. Real similar type of mechanic. And in that one, though, the gems are actually these big, beautiful gems. I'll put a picture down here. That one's, I also really recommend that one. It's a great little game. Also, too, I don't have a copy of, but I've played it and seen it played. If you like Ticket to Ride, they came out with a new version, Ticket to Ride New York. Pretty much the same game, but smaller. And plays in about 15 minutes to a half hour, they say. So if I guess you could consider it a Ticket to Ride light. So if you like Ticket to Ride and you want something a little easier to teach and plays a lot quicker, another great idea would be that Ticket to Ride New York. And if you like to play Uno, an idea for you too is Rage. This game here plays a little bit kind of like Uno, but what you're doing is you're bidding on how many hands you think you can win, and you start with 10. Everybody starts with 10 cards the first round, and you see how many you can do it. If you guessed right on how many hands you can win, you get a bonus points. But there's little cards they call it Rage cards, which can change the color. And do different effects. That's why I said it kind of reminds me a little bit of Uno. So if you like that, here's another idea. An idea some of y'all probably heard of I know I had it. Cards Against Humanity. There it is. But find it a little too adult for the younger ones, and or you know, some people you play with, which I totally agree. It's most time I really don't pull it out. A great game that's a lot more PG is called You Got Problems. This one you probably hadn't seen around. This one is a great little game, real similar. Because matter of fact, you'll even looks the same. Only difference is between this one is most of the subject is a lot tamer. It is PG-13 type. And the difference in this one is everybody gives a card saying, you have $1 million, and another person may say, you have the ability to fly. Now, I don't want that person to have that one. I want him to pick mine that said $1 million. So I play negative cards on his, saying something like, you may have the ability to fly, but you're blind. Or you can only eat after dark. Or, you know, there's a bunch of weird ones in here. So it's kind of almost a would you rather, and then they have to choose, and you can sit down and discuss. It's a fun little social game. So it's like I said, a lot more family friendly. It's great for social events. You want, like I said, if you want something a little more friendly. Another great social game. Many of y'all probably played Sushi Go. They came out with Sushi Go Party. A lot of people didn't realize this one came out. That played the original, and the party basically it plays the same thing as Sushi Go did. So if you like Sushi Go, you pretty much can pick this one right up. The only difference is the menu or the cards that you play can be changed, and there's a huge there's a large amount. You can see all the different cards. So these are all the different types you can change out on the menu. And they have that little rule book. They'll show you what to do. And then, you know, like I said, it has a little thing, and you put the cards in for each of the different things, the rolls, specials, appetizers. Another great little fun family/party game. And while we're on the subject of party games, two other games to recommend. Citadels. Now, what's recently happened in this game is Citadels came out with this version, which has all the different characters added to it. It's basically a card game where you're going to pick a character each round, and you will at the beginning of the turn, the king will say, okay, who's number one, which is depending on which game, but most time at the basic game is the assassin. And the assassin says, I'm the assassin. You flip your card over, and he says the merchant cannot play this turn. And then number two is the thief. The thief can go, I'm going to steal from this guy, the warlord. And the third one is, say, you know, I'm the bishop. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to build your little town. What's nice about this one is they've added in two expansions that came out, which basically is completely, it's the same game, but they have all new characters for each position. So with the new one now, you have 27 different characters, because there's 1 through 9. So you can swap them out, and they got a lot of different varieties you can do them with. Great, simple little game, easy to play, great for parties and situations. Another fun little party game a lot of people haven't played is Deception. Now in Deception, What you're doing is one player is the investigator. All other players will close their eyes, and then the murderer will open up his eyes, and he will show the investigator in front of him what, because I'm sorry, everybody in front of them has a clue and a cause of death. And he will point to, when everybody closes their eyes, the murderer will show the investigator what he did and what he used. And then everybody opens their eyes. And this one is kind of dependent on your investigator playing have a real good poker face, because he's going to give you clues by putting them on these tokens on these cards that will give hints. And he's trying to get the investigators to figure out who's the murderer and what they used to do it. And you got 3 rounds to do it. So it can be really fun trying to throw them off. Because you've got, in between each round, when it's your turn, you have like 30 seconds to say, I think it's James, because it says outdoors and he used a shovel, so that's usually outdoors. So I think James did it. I say on the murderer. So you're trying to throw them off. Fun, great game. We always have fun doing it. One of our friends seems like he's always the murderer. So first thing we always do is like, okay, he's the murderer. Let's figure out how he did it. Now for the little bit older crowd, a fun game that I really enjoy. This is a 2-player game. It's called Czar. Chris Berm did a series of games called GIF, and this is number 2 in the series. Probably one of my favorite. I have some of the other ones, but this by far is one of the easier ones to play and to learn. It's you put in black and white tokens down. They got the different rings in them. And what you're going to do is every turn you have to first move. You have to capture an opponent's chip. And then you can either capture another one or you can stack. And you try to stack your chips up, because you can only capture chips of its size or smaller. So you're trying to make yours more powerful by stacking it on top, but you're also losing a chip when you stack it. So it's a lot of strategy to it. If you like Othello or checkers type, I highly recommend this game. Has a lot of the same type of mechanics. Another fun one is seeing a lot more popularity again. This is an older game that's been redone. Pretty much same game, but now they put all the expansions in it. Santorini. What you're doing in this game is you're moving and building. You move your little character on this little 5x5 grid, and you build these little, let's see if we can get here. You build these little buildings, and they go up, you make them up to a level 3. And what the object is, you're trying to get on top of a level 3. Simple, move, build, move, build. Your opponent's trying to do the same thing. Or you can also put a little dome on top. And if you put a dome on top, nobody can go on top. Once you get through the basics of just doing that, with the add-ons, they have the various, you can see the Greek gods. They have the various powers. Like you can have Hercules' ability to move somebody, or Ares' ability, like he can move 2 or something. Everybody has a bunch of different powers. So you can either play it without the powers and just play the pure game, or you can play with powers. Everybody has their preference. Simple, easy little game to learn and to teach. 1 to 2 players also. And also along with the older ones, I think most people probably might already have this one that's probably seen this video, but Azul. They also have a new one coming out, Azul Stained Glass, which is like I haven't really looked into that one too much right now, but if it's by these same guys and use the same mechanics, I can't see why not. In Azul, if you ever played Sudoku, it has a kind of a similar mechanic where, well, on the placing of the tiles, I should say, you're going to draft tiles out of the middle, and you're going to be placing them on your card, and you're trying to fill in this pattern. But you can't, like in Sudoku, you can't have the same tile in a vertical or horizontal line. So you have to put them in, you know, almost in a diagonal. And there's one side, the basic side, which will have the pattern on there. And then on the other side, has it blank where you can create your own pattern, just following those rules. Great, simple little game. You can teach about anybody. These tiles are kind of, mine's is a Starburst. Great quality, simple game. More and more add-ons are coming out with it. Really fun for everybody. And along the same lines of that, if you like Azul, is Sagrada. They're printing more of these out because I know that earlier this year they were really hard to get. Now there's a lot more of them out there. This game here, another drafting game, except for this one's with dice. You're rolling these different colored dice. You will be placing them in these patterns. You'll have you get these cards to place on your sheet, and you're trying to place them to meet the pattern. The same number can't be touching each other, and the same color can't be touching each other. So using those rules, you're trying to fill out your card and picking the dice one at a time. They do have the expansion for it, so you can play 5 to 6 players. And it also adds some other rules to it. If you do get this and like this, I do recommend the expansion for it too. I like some of the new rules they added to it and the new game modes. All right, that's more or less the family games that are the more simpler ones. Now, as I say, honorable mention, I haven't played it. I've seen it played. I tried to get a copy. I'm having a hard time trying to get me a copy. Disclaimer, I know the guy. I watched him play it. He is part of our local gaming group. But from everything I've seen and watched him play in the game and watched the reviews, Captains of the Golf is coming out. This is especially great for our area because not only is he a local designer, but the game is based off of our area of going out in the Gulf of Mexico, shrimping, fishing, selling your food or your seafood to the markets, upgrading your ship, upgrading your captain's license. If you ever played any of the Spielworks games, it's along that style where the cards have different functions. Every time I watch him play the game, I itch to play it, but he's always been in development of it, so I never really got too much of a chance to get in to play it. But I've sat behind and watched him and his wife kind of demo it, and it's fantastic. Right now, it is hard to get in America. From what I understand, they're trying to get some American distributors to sell it, so it's a little bit easier and cheaper to get. So hopefully I will get me a copy of that soon. But I do recommend Captains of the Golf to, not just support our local designer, but it is a great game for, especially if you're in the Louisiana area and you love fishing and shrimping. It's a great little game. And another one for your adventure types, very overlooked game, Zepocalypse. It's basically another zombie game. I know there's a bunch of them out there. The only difference between this one is more, if you've seen Night of the Living Dead, the original, it kind of reminds you of that. You're in the house. Your house is being attacked every night by zombies. Each player plays a group of, basically a group of survivors. So you have your own little party that's moving around as a group. During the day, you will upgrade the different stuff. You can set up barricades. You can build watchtowers and all that, and you can scavenge, get food, and you're trying to survive. It's trying to survive every night after every night, and it's got a little adventure pack booklet. So it's like a little campaign mode. On using the combat, you just when you roll the dice, you can use they're like action points, and you can spend them. I love it. Be honest with you, this is my favorite of the zombie games, but highly overlooked because it came with a zombie side and Dead of Winter. It came out right around in those, so it kind of got muddled into it. One that came out with a little bit of fanfare, but if you have a video gamer that you're trying to get into board games, this is a great little board game that is really close to the video game. I mean, it's Fallout. Your character sheet has the little special, just like you would in the video game. You have your rads, you have your health, your miniatures and move around the map, which looks it's a randomly generated map. Your money is bottle caps. Your missions, when you look at the missions, it's just like in the video game. I mean, they took a lot of the Fallout, various parts of the Fallout games, and directly imported it into this. But like the video game, it is long. I will say that if you're looking for a quick game, this is not one for you. But if you do like video games, and especially if you love Fallout or know someone likes Fallout, this is definitely a great recommendation. They got some expansions coming out soon for it. It is 1 to 4 players, so it can be played solo. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. Another one. This one is kind of like the mixed blessing. I love this game. I hate the setup. This is probably one of the longer setup games. Wasteland Express Delivery Service. It's exactly what it pretty much says. You're in these old beat up post-apocalyptic trucks. You're going around, you're picking up items and you're delivering them. But there's a lot of stuff hidden below this game. There's different missions you can do. There's multiple ways to win. You have your scenarios, which you can win that way, but you can also be picking up these other mission cards. You can be winning that way. So people can think you're so far behind, but you got some mission cards and you can just come from behind. It's got a marketplace that fluctuates depending on how much out. So the more food is out, the less demand it has. As ammo gets low, the price of ammo goes up. It both fluctuate back and forth. Fantastic game. Oh, like I said, the only thing I hate about this game is the setup. The thing I do love about the game is, bar none, nobody has ever done, and I don't think we'll ever do, a better tray system. All the little components fit in here. All the little, because you can upgrade your car or your truck. So it's take the good, take with the bad. It's like I said, it has a nasty setup, but it's worth it once you do. It's really fun. Plays in about an hour or two. 1 to 4 players. I'm sorry, 2 to 5 players. 2 to 5 players. You got the mutants running around, shooting at the mutants. Or if you don't want to set up your vehicle for combat and just for delivery, give it rockets and, all kinds of stuff. Fun little game. It plays different every time you play it, and everybody different. And that's pretty much my recommendation. Oh, I forgot one thing. Another little idea. You'll have to Google it. Check it out. Board Game Tables has this backpack. I keep going on the wrong way here. My little monitor is backwards for me, so Board Game Tables for $28. I did a review on it. Mine's still been holding up real good, and I have some real heavy games like Thunderstone Quest, which weigh close to 20 pounds. But it's $28, free shipping. Everybody I've recommended that to that's gotten one all says the same thing. It's a great backpack. It's well worth the money. If you know somebody that likes to carry around their games and go to their friend's house or whatever, I really recommend it. Oh, whew, finally got through all them games. So this is James Scott with Board on the Bayou. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you have any questions, just write comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.